And our fourth main topic today gets submitted to us by Jayzee, who writes, Deadline is reporting that a Michael Jackson biopic is in the works. My question isn't whether or not it's a good idea to make it, but rather how big will it be? Bohemian Rhapsody made over $900 million, and Michael Jackson is quite possibly the biggest star to ever live. Do you think this could be a huge blockbuster hit, even with all the controversy that will undeniably surround it? All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, Jayzee. And the first thing we should probably mention about this is that while it may be in the works, it is a far from greenlit project. Now, just so everybody is on the same page and we understand what's going on here, here's the basic gist of it. This comes to us from Variety. Bohemian Rhapsody producer Graham King has struck a deal with the Michael Jackson estate for the pop star's life and music rights, with plans to make a feature film based on both. King has tapped Gladiator and The Aviator screenwriter John Logan for the project. The film currently, now this is key, the film currently has no studio or distributor attached. So here's our situation. We have the producer of Bohemian Rhapsody, which was great, by the way. He has secured the rights to make this movie. That just means he's got the rights to make the movie. As a producer, he has employed a screenwriter and commissioned a screenwriter to write a screenplay based on the directions that he gives. So we're going to get a screenplay. These are the first steps to trying to get a movie made. 95% of the movies, potential movies, die on the vine right there. Few move on. Could this actually happen? It absolutely could. Because you're right, Michael Jackson is arguably the biggest star of all time. I mean, you can make that argument. I'm not saying that's definitive, but you could make that argument. Here's the problem, and this is the same problem when people brought up shortly after Michael Jackson died. And brought up the question, I remember one of my older shows asking, well, how quick are we going to get a biopic? And I said this at the time. This is like almost 10 years ago now. I said, don't expect a biopic anytime soon. And the reason being is because a studio will not know what to do with it. Because there is a dimension of controversy in Michael Jackson's life. And I'm not here to get into the controversy, except that we all know that there is controversy. Did he or didn't he? And the nation seems to be as divided on that as to whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie or not. So he thinks it is, I think it isn't. So there you go. And I think the country is just as divided on that. And so as a movie studio, this is what I said again, almost 10 years ago. I said, the problem is a studio will not know what to do with this. If you ignore the controversy, you're going to piss a bunch of people off, saying, how dare you ignore that? If you portray the controversy and make it look like, if you portray in the movie that makes it looks like he was actually guilty of the things he was accused of, you're going to piss a lot of people off who insist he wasn't. And I said almost 10 years ago, I don't see a clear win for a studio. I don't see why a studio would want to touch this with a 100-foot pole, because I just don't know that there is a clear win there for a studio. And sure enough, we've gone almost 10 years with no biopic of Michael Jackson. So now we've got the Bohemian Rhapsody guy, who just did a great job with Bohemian Rhapsody, and he wants to get one done. What is interesting here, Rob, is that he's gotten the rights from the Jackson estate, which tells me that the movie he pitched to the Jackson estate made them feel comfortable, which also tells me that any such movie probably won't touch much of the controversy. Again, I'm just speculating. I don't know that for sure. But I think the same problem arises here. I think the whole reason why the last line of this story here in Variety, the film currently has no studio distributor, because if it were not for the controversy surrounding Michael Jackson, a studio would have attached itself to this project before, the ink even dried on Graham signing the contract for it. He would have had a distributor. He would have had financiers coming, throwing money at him to get this movie made. But we're not there yet. And I think a lot of people and a lot of studios are going to step back and see what kind of movie are you going to kind of put together here and how is this going to turn out? And I still think there is a good chance this movie never sees the light of day, because I just don't know how you approach it. Even me, Rob, if you're to ask me, okay, John, you're in charge. What do you do with the Michael Jackson biopic? I leave it on the shelf. I don't touch it. I simply do not touch it, because there is no way to make this movie without pissing off half of the audience. Do it one way, you're going to piss off this half. Do it the other way, you're going to piss off the other half. And I'm not taking a position. I'm just saying there's no win here. Now, money can help you overcome a lot of fears. And if some studio thinks there is a clear way for them to make money, they may get involved in it. But Rob, I just don't know. I think this is one that the studios, before jumping on board this, are going to be very, very cautious about. I don't know. How do you see this playing out? Do you think this will actually move forward and happen at some point? And if so, which direction do you think they're going to go?
I have to say, I mean, I'm in wholehearted. I completely agree with you, because I think there's just elements to this story, the controversies that we've all heard, the documentaries on HBO, but also, you know, there's something. As much as Michael Jackson is such a beloved figure by so many people, especially around the world, and he means so much to so many people and did for so long, but especially in the latter portion of his life, there's a lot of very difficult things to address. Even if there was no controversy and you addressed him as a person, you know, his idea, the plastic surgeries and the things like that, there's a lot of psychological elements to this film that are directly opposed to the joy in the music that I think make this a really difficult project to tackle. And I also think ultimately, from a filmmaking perspective, who do you get to play Michael Jackson? I don't know if there's even an actor who exists on the planet that's capable enough to do both the dramatic elements and the dancing elements. I mean, we can find, sure, there's been some amazing actors who have done roles in the past where they sing and they dance. You're a song and dance man yourself. But I don't think, I think there's a lot of issues surrounding this movie that make it almost untenable as a film. I could be wrong, but the controversy first and foremost, but second of all, from a production standpoint, who do you, because Rami Malek worked so well as Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
I just don't see, I mean, it's a tough role, man. That's a hard role to play.
And then the question is, how do you play it?
How do you play it?
It's a big hot ball. Like, guys, listen, let me ask you. You're in charge of a studio, and they say, hey, somebody got the rights to it, and there's a producer developing the movie. Should we get on board with it? Honestly, what do you say? Do you say, yeah, let's invest our reputation and our money and get involved with this? Or do you say, no, let's keep a distance from this? Or do you say, well, let's wait and see the script? But even then, I don't know if that solves anything. How do you guys approach it? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts.